Good morning, everybody. Today we are going to continue with the Chinese porcelain. And now we are going to talk about the historical development of Chinese porcelain. Porcelain was invented in China over a centuries-long development period, beginning with proto-porcelain wares of the Shang dynasty. By the time of the Eastern Han dynasty, these early glazed ceramic wares had developed into porcelain, which Chinese defined as a high-fired ware. By the late Sui dynasty and early Tang dynasty, the now standard requirements of whiteness and translucency had been achieved in types such as dinware. The wares were already exported with the Islamic world, where they were highly prized. During the Song dynasty, artistry and production had reached new heights. The manufacturing of porcelain became highly organized, and dinware became the premier porcelain. By the Ming dynasty, production of the finest wares for the court was concentrated in a single city, and Jingdezhen porcelain, originally owned by the imperial government, remains the center of Chinese porcelain production. By the time of the Ming dynasty, porcelain wares were being exported to Asia and Europe. Some of the most well-known Chinese porcelain art styles arrived in Europe during this era, such as the coveted blue and white wares. The Ming dynasty controlled much of the porcelain trade, which was expanded to Asia, Africa, and Europe via the Silk Road. Some porcelains were more highly valued than others in Imperial China. The most valued types can be identified by their association with the court, either as tribute offerings or as products of kilns under imperial supervision. Since the Yuan dynasty, the largest and the best center of production is Jingdezhen porcelain. During the Ming dynasty, Jingdezhen porcelain became a source of imperial pride. The Yongle Emperor erected a white porcelain brick-faced pagoda in Nanjing, and an exceptionally smoothly glazed type of white porcelain is peculiar to his reign. Jingdezhen porcelain's fame came to a peak during the Qing dynasty. And now we are going to learn the schools of porcelain. So, based on the materials, there is a hard-paste porcelain. It is a high-fired ceramic ware that exhibits translucent properties and is composed of white clay and a type of feldspathic rock. Kaolin is refractory and binds a piece together while in the kiln, and the pitons fuses into a natural kind of glass that gives it its smoothness and brilliance. Hard-paste porcelain allows for tighter modeling and more robust shapes, even in delicate or very thin designs. Most decorative porcelain figurines, urns, centerpieces, etc. are made using porcelain of this type. And then there is the artificial soft-paste porcelain. It is termed soft because of its ability to be cut with a file. This type of porcelain is composed of the same materials as a hard-paste porcelain, but is fired at a lower temperature, whereby it tends to be a more granular and porous since the component materials do not vitrify. Additionally, the surface is less white or brilliant and has an almost silky or marble-like feel to the touch. Some collectors prefer this look, especially on human figurines, where it allows for softer texture and a more lifelike appearance on faces, hands, and etc. And the third one is bone china, the same as a hard-paste porcelain, but with added bone ash. So basically ashes from burnt animal bones, mostly cattle. Bone ash contains lime and phosphoric acid, which helps infusing all of the ingredients and allows for a more stable final product, even at the lower temperatures required for softer paste porcelain. In a manufacturing setting, this means less damage due to the cracking in the cane and less waste or rejects, thus lower cost. In decorative arts terms, it means that an object with at least 30% mixture of bone and ash can also achieve a similar brilliance and translucence, typically seen on hard paste porcelain, but at the lower cost of producing soft paste. Based on the classification of color, antique china is first divided into monochrome and polychrome porcelain types. Monochrome porcelain is then subdivided into plain porcelain and colored glaze porcelain. In China, it was the era of plain porcelain before the Ming Dynasty and the vigorous development of colored glaze porcelain, and the polychrome or painted porcelain followed. And then the colored glaze porcelain, it is different from plain porcelain that is fired in ventilated kilns and whose color varies with different iron oxide content. It is fired under hermetic conditions, and its color changes along with the iron oxide content, copper oxide content, and the temperature change. Its color includes red, caramel, blue, yellow, green, and purple. Third, the painted porcelain is not distinguished for its glaze color, but for its shape, painting, and decoration. The development of color decoration began as blue and white porcelain appeared with patterns on or under the glaze. And now we are going to talk about the production of porcelain. The first one is forming. Porcelain can be made using all the shape techniques for pottery. It was originally typically made on the potter's wheel, though molds were also used from early on. Slip casting has been the most common commercial method in recent times. And then glazing. Biscuit porcelain is unglazed porcelain treated as a finished product, mostly for figures and sculpture. Unlike their lower-fired counterparts, porcelain wares do not need glazing to render them impermeable to liquids, and for the most part are glazed for decorative purposes, and to make them resistant to dirt and stain. Many types of glaze, such as the iron-containing glaze used on the celadon wares of Longquan, were designed specifically for their striking effects on porcelain. And then the third important step is decoration. So porcelain often receives underglaze decoration using pigments that include cobalt oxide and copper, or overglaze enamels, allowing a wider range of colors. And the last step is firing. In this process, grain, which is unfired ceramic wares, are heated to high temperatures in a kiln to permanently set their shapes, vitrify the body and the glaze. Porcelain is fired at a higher temperature than earthenware so that the body can vitrify and become non-porous. Many types of porcelain in the past have been fired twice or even 3 times to allow decoration using less robust pigments in overglaze enamel. And now we are going to talk about the impact on the Western porcelain. Chinese porcelain has a lasting impact on the Western production of porcelain. France, for example, is deeply indebted to the Chinese porcelain in the production of faience. The Nevers manufactory has produced faience with the decoration of Chinese scenes from 1680 to 1700. The Saint-Cloud manufactory has produced soft paste porcelain vase with blue designs under gaze from 1695 to 1700. And here is the end of our lecture. Thank you for your time and attention.